DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health. At Merck Animal Health, we're shaping the future of animal health with pioneering science, connected technology, and insights-driven solutions to bring our customers an unparalleled portfolio of choices to improve cattle care and operational efficiency. We support you and your legacy by helping you meet the challenges of today with the innovations of tomorrow.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. We're in Cairo, Nebraska. We're at Ford Farms. We're here with Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz. We're going to have a great show. We're going to talk about setting up for processing. We're going to talk about your facilities, talk about your equipment. We're going to talk about different things that you're going to do. Stay tuned. We're coming to you from Nebraska.
They're here, they're hungry, and they can't be stopped with ivermectin. Choose Safeguard when you deworm your cattle to take out resistant parasites like brown stomach worm, Cooperia, Nematodyrus, and others. With Safeguard's efficacy, you can kill more resistant worms in your cattle, so you don't leave potential on the table. Consult your veterinarian for the diagnosis and treatment of parasitism, then bite back at safeguardworks.com.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson. I'm here with my friend and colleague, Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz. Dr. Lukasiewicz is the owner and operator of Sandhills Consulting.
Yes.
And you're also an owner and operator of PAC, Production Animal Consultation.
That is correct.
And you know, you see cattle all across the United States.
Yes.
You're based out of Grand Island, Nebraska.
Yes.
And you know, to get you to sit tight in one spot is not an easy thing for me to do, but I did
It's
it.
getting easier.
Don't believe that for a second. So let's talk a little bit about processing and just your general thoughts about setup. We're here at Ford Farms, Byron and Ann Ford. Great producers, unbelievable facility.
Yes.
If you're ever in the area, stop by. And take a tour of this. This is one of a kind, and we're truly blessed to be here. But talk a little bit about what you do, just kind of start your day. And
so I think one thing to just give kind of an intro to Ford Farms and to understand when we see these facilities here today is to say that only large operators can have facilities like this, 20,000, 30,000 head yards. I think you're wrong. This is on average, we have about 2,400 head at this facility. Byron and his son, John, and Byron's wife, Ann, have done just a fantastic job of learning how to be good operators, good business people, good marketers of the facility to understand how we get it to these type of technologies and this type of operation today. And so what Byron has taught me as a veterinarian, and we've worked together as a team, is to bring this here, build it, design it, and then learn how to use it. And so when we come and to process cattle on our processing day, One of the first things we do is we have organization and structure. And so just making sure that we have what cattle are we processing, why, what are we processing them for? We have good reason of why we're doing things. And then two is once we have that built into our computer system or into a written spreadsheet system, whatever you're using, depending on how small you are or how large you are, but it's basically to have that structure built right up front. Two is then make sure that your team knows exactly what we're doing as far as for processing wise, what products we're going to be using, making sure that the facility is organized and that our layout of the tables and everything is in the right spot. We don't want to bring cattle up here without knowing what we're going to do and how we're going to do it prior to doing it.
So when so I think you make a great point on knowing what cattle we're going to do, what they're having your protocols out in front, so that then you can move from there to adjusting facilities to which animals are going to come in which order.
Yep.
And getting along with your day. Is that?
Yeah, and I had this brought up to me today. Sometimes we talk about going through the facility prior to bringing the cattle, but I had this brought up to me today at a facility that I was at a U.S. Meat Animal Research Center where we do structure and team building and animal handling guidance and all those things there as well. But one of the things they said is that actually the facility inspection should occur at the end of the day when you're done.
Yeah.
Main reason is so that if there needs to be fixes, we get them fixed prior to bringing the cattle through, because there is nothing more stressful in a person's life or in a manager's life is to find out, hey, we got cattle to process today, but we have a break in the alley, or we had this going on. You can catch all that the night before as you're doing clean down. That's the time to do your inspection, is during the clean down.
That's perfect. We're going to take a break. Thanks for watching Doc Talk. When we come back, more from Cairo, Nebraska at Ford Farms with Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz.
This Cattle Intel is brought to you by Neogen.
When giving injections to cattle, selection of the proper needle is important. In doing so, you must consider the route of administration and the size of the animal. The route of administration will determine the length of the needle. The routes of administration will either be subcutaneous, intermuscular, or intravenous. You will determine that route of administration by properly reading the label of the product. A shorter needle will be used for subcutaneous injections, and a longer needle will be utilized for intermuscular and intravenous injections. When selecting the proper size of the needle based on diameter or gauge, smaller diameter needles will be utilized for smaller animals and larger diameter needles for larger animals, but understanding that a larger number in gauge equates to a smaller diameter needle.
Thanks for watching Cattle Intel by Neogen.
Are you a cattle feeder looking to manage for a stronger and more profitable set of cattle? Look no further than Igenity Feeder. Igenity Feeder utilizes DNA to gain insight into your cattle's genomic potential, with the information to predict performance, quality, and economic endpoints for cattle feeders. Animals are scored and ranked in a simple format, driving more precise and accurate management decisions. Igenity Feeder gives you the power to predict days on feed, manage variability within lots, characterize carcass performance, and focus on metrics important to you and your operation. With the data provided, you will identify superior animals earlier and maintain high operational efficiency. Maximize your profit and optimize performance with Igenity Feeder.
I've been a veterinarian since 1987. My wife and I set up a practice in Monette, Missouri in 1989. We started using therapies shortly after it came out. I was overwhelmed with the positive response that we were getting from producers. They could noticeably see a difference. I have to admit that I was pretty skeptical at first. I am currently 110% sold on the product. There is no doubt in my mind that this is an added product that we can use on these cattle that is going to make a significant difference.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. We're here at Cairo, Nebraska at Ford Farms. I'm here with my friend and colleague, Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz. Dr. Kip is with Production Animal Consultation and consults feed yards all across the U.S., does cattle handling demonstrations and facility design work internationally. If you are putting in a new facility, whether you're a meat packer, you're a feedlot, you're a veterinarian, this is the guy to get a hold of for your needs, and I mean that sincerely. What would kind of walk me through the segments, and then what we'll do is we'll stop and we'll reset so that we can see you doing the actual inspections.
Okay. So I think when we come through and do a facility inspection wise, which should either happen first thing prior to working cattle or at the end of the day, after you've done clean down, just make sure you go through these inspections and look to make sure we got everything correct. So first thing is if we have any oil leaks in our hydraulics, if we're running a hydraulic chute, is to make sure that these valves at times, or these levers, these little pins right here, cotter keys and so forth, making sure that everything is in place. I go to some yards and they're sitting there trying to tinker with, maybe the cotter key and stuff is off. Make sure that that's all in place, because it just make sure these levers, everything is working correctly and so forth as we're doing things. And we don't want to have oil dripping. If we do have that, you got to make sure that we have some floor dry or something like that, because that does create a safety hazard in terms of slipping, sliding, and so forth like that. But the most important thing is if it's dripping and it's leaking, it may not be working right. So just get it fixed. I think that's always the important thing. So just make sure there's no leaks, no drips, all those things are in place. The other thing is simple maintenance on a chute. We have grease zerks in different areas, making sure that routinely we do maintenance on a chute. It's not something that has to be done, but if you're washing down every day or after every use, water gets into these things. So running grease in at least maybe once a week, or every now and then, it's probably every 2 weeks on some of these things that are low use maintenance. So like our swing doors, for example, on chutes, you know, we're not going to open these up very often, but you still want to have them greased so that they do move when you need them to move. Making sure that these hinges are oiled so that you take kind of the squeak out every now and then, just so they open up easy enough. That's the other thing, Dr. Dan, is that sometimes when we're going through these things, you'll find that some of these gates or these doors don't always work right at chutes or on chutes at feedlots. Main reason is because if they're not being used or adjusted and so forth. But I would always still say wash them, make sure they move, and that they're easy to clean. As I go through on the facility, I make sure that there's nothing loose, that the floor and everything is correct. There's no loose bars, no frayed metal, or any of those types of things on the chute. And in here, what I'd say is the outside, but then also just making sure no frayed metal on the inside, rust, anything like that where there's holes, things where cattle can cut themselves. So on the alley, again, just simple maintenance. One, keeping things clean. You can see here we got the Daniels alley. It's super adjustable and adjust to the type of cow that we have. However, things do rust over time or things break. So making sure, like hinge points, make sure there's no cracks. There's these, like where these gussets and stuff are, or for where things are suspended. Sometimes we do see that the welds break on these over time and overuse. So just making sure that there's no cracks in anything and that everything is working right. Make sure that, like on our no backs, our rubbers are there as far as our rubber stops and our bumps. Just making sure there that things are working right and they're quiet. The other thing is on the inside of the alley, just making sure there's no frayed metal where cattle can lift a foot, cut themselves, create lacerations or injuries. Cattle are not born with injuries. They do not usually arrive with injuries. We create injuries. So making sure that there's no frayed metal of any sort where cattle can injure themselves. And that's on this alley, but even on like our V-floored alleys where things happen at the bottom, making sure that there's nothing at the bottom that's frayed, I think is just really important.
Now that we're set up, we're going to set up some of the equipment. We're going to set up some of our products. We're here with Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz at Ford Farms in Cairo, Nebraska.
Every farmer knows that understanding the landscape is the most important ingredient for success. When it comes to investing in precious metals, United Patriot Coin can help steer you in the right direction. No obligation, just solid advice. Call now for your free guide, 844-202-7834.
When it comes to treating BRD, you want a product that you can count on to get the job done at an affordable price. Macrosyn by Bimeda delivers on both. A straight shooting, no BS tulathromycin that does what it's supposed to do. End of story. You don't need to take our word for it though. Go to macrosyn.com for customer testimonials and head-to-head trial results. For your cattle and your bottom line, choose Macrosyn.
In the livestock industry, castration is a common practice to ensure proper herd management. All methods are painful, regardless of the age of the animal. At Solvit, we could not ignore the clear industry need for better castration solutions. So we developed Lidoband, a novel lidocaine-impregnated elastrator, addressing the pain associated with band castration. It provides local anesthesia throughout the castration process. Lidoband, a small device that can make a big difference.
Ranchers, looking to elevate your pasture management game? Turn to Heinen Brothers for expert aerial application. With state-of-the-art equipment and seasoned pilots, we deliver precision treatments right to your fields. From fertilizers to herbicides, Heinen Brothers has your pasture covered. Visit HeinenBrosAg.com to learn more.
When the ones who have your heart need your help, count on us for everything they deserve, delivered fast. We'll work hard for you so you can work hard for your dreams.
Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz. We're in Cairo, Nebraska, where Dr. Kip is a feedlot consultant for feed yards. He's with Production Animal Consultation, otherwise known as PAC. You can find us at pacdvms.com. You know, when you think of Dr. Kip, he is one of those that is tireless working with producers. He is so knowledgeable on cattle, cattle medicine, cattle handling, and now we're going to talk about cattle processing. So to help me kind of understand how we're setting up your tray here and your table.
So I think the other thing that we like to talk about with our crews is just making sure that our tables or those things are very organized to start our day so that everything has a place. At some of our yards, or a lot of our yards today, we actually do serialized tags and so forth. And so we do recommend that we change needles every 10 head. We're using Revlor implants here today from Merck Animal Health and some Vista vaccine. But the one thing I always tell them is always change your needle every 10 head. The easy way to keep track of that is there's 10 doses of implants in the implant cartridge, and we usually line our tags out, serial numbers going in serialized order, and then we have them in stacks of 10.
Put 10 out.
So that way, and then we usually will put a needle right by each stack. And so that way, as they're going, they get the new stack, they know change needle on the syringe and start over. So I think that's always an important part of it. We also have our chlorhexidine solution, which we dilute from basically it's 2 tablespoons per gallon of use. And then we put that in our implant tray. We also highly recommend, like with ears wise, if we have soiled ears, say manure on the ear, or if it's raining, we will typically brush each ear with some chlorhexidine. We have a dirty bucket, which we clean, one time or twice, get the soil off, and then we come with a clean brush, re-swipe it so it's clean, and then we can go ahead and implant and tag as we do those things. And so we get that ready. And then we always recommend, as far as mixing of our vaccine, the reason I love Vista Wise is because it always comes with the transfer needle. What I really like about that is in terms of just from a cleanliness standpoint, each box comes with its own transfer. So you can take those out, and then as we mix this up, we always go through training on this. Go through your sterile diluent first, right there. You're going to, squeeze that in there like that, and then you're going to suck it back in. Stir that around. And I don't shake this, then we just roll it. We don't want to knock the viral antigens unconscious by shaking them up, okay? And so we want to keep them live. It's a modified live vaccine. And so we do want to make sure that we maintain that. We just then squeeze the bottle and we suck that back in. And we can milk that back into the bottle. Pull that out a little bit. And we can get it all. There we go. And once we have it all in there, now we're ready for our vaccine. We only mix up 1 bottle at a time. We keep all of our other stuff in the cooler the entire time. Okay, absolutely. So this is the only bottle that's exposed.
We don't want that to get hot, and we don't want it to be in the light.
Correct. And we don't reuse this transfer needle. This transfer needle is done because the next box will have a new transfer needle.
Perfect.
Okay. That way you don't have to worry about dirt, manure, or contamination of your vaccine. It's always clean. So that's the reason I love that product.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, let's take a break. When we come back from Doc Talk, more with Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz. We're going to finish our setup here, and we're going to get ready to process. Thanks for watching.
Hey, I'm Clark Victory. I grew up right here on this little ranch near Chelsea, Oklahoma. Roped and ranched all my life. A few years ago, I had a injury that created what they call a frozen shoulder. And after speaking with the surgeon in Tulsa, he told me that he could make my shoulder better if he did surgery, but he absolutely couldn't fix it. And I called Kansas Regenerative Medical Center. I did the stem cell replacement. By 12:30, my wife and I had lunch and was driving back to Chelsea. We work around here. Some days we work pretty hard around here, and my right shoulder doesn't get sore. It's like a baby's arm.
When you spot BRD in your cattle, that's your golden opportunity to target infection and its associated fever with a single dose of Resflor Gold, the industry standard dual therapy. To learn more, talk to your Merck Animal Health rep or your vet and see label at resflorgold.com. Animals intended for human consumption must not be slaughtered within 38 days of treatment. This product is not approved for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows.
Hey folks, for your firearm and ammo needs, for gun safes and much, much more, and to have it personalized, come visit us at United Patriot Supply outside of Seneca, Kansas. You can also visit us online at unitedpatriotsupply.com. Be sure to say that Dr. Dan and DocTalk sent you, and we'll see you down the road.
Time is money on the farm, and your cows are less productive when they're stressed. The Alertus on-farm test from IDEX allows you to quickly test cowside and identify open or pregnant cows within minutes on your schedule in the parlor, barn, or chute. It's more efficient for your farm, very simple to use, and puts you in control. With minimal training and reliable, fast results, sample-based pregnancy testing is better for beef and dairy producers. Learn more at idex.com/DocTalk.
Welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz. We're here at Ford Farms, Cairo, Nebraska, run and owned by Byron and Ann Ford. Their boys, John and Will, just do a tremendous job. And they let us come in here. Dr. Kip's a consultant here. He consults many yards. Again, if you have a facility needs or you have cattle handling needs or you need a consulting vet, this guy's top of the line. Let's So we're going to clean syringes.
Clean syringes.
So that means I get out of the way and let him do some work. So go ahead, Dr.
All right. So at the end of the day, we always like to clean our syringes, but we don't use any, if this is a modified live vaccine syringe, we do not use any disinfectants in that syringe at all. We use water on the outside, clean out the outside first, and then we go ahead and we disassemble the syringe, kind of rinse out the inside of the barrel really well. You can use either brushes or paper towels or whatever you need to do to clean out that inside pretty well. And then at the end, I got some already here, but we fill up a glass, either a Tupperware bowl or a cup, where we actually boil this in a microwave. We put it in the microwave for 3 to 5 minutes, usually 5 minutes, and get that really steamy hot. And then we flush our syringe out. We reassemble our syringe and we flush it out at least 3 times in that boiling hot water. So to start with, typically we disassemble, take the needle off, put that in our sharps container. We come here to the sink, clean off all the organic matter and everything that's on that syringe, clean off the tip of that syringe really well, and just make sure that everything is back to being clean and right. Pull back your plunge. And if you have automatic refill syringes, it's the very same thing. Recommend the same exact approach on it. And so here, just make sure, put that plunge back out. Clean this part of the syringe. Sometimes I'll take those O-rings out, just make sure and clean in and around that O-ring as well, and then re-lubricate up that O-ring once it's before I reassemble it. Just set that aside. Go ahead and wash the inside of your barrel out. Rinse it out. Again, you can take some paper towels, run down in there and so forth to get that cleaned out really well. Take that apart or put it back together. Make sure that you don't kink your O-ring. If I do this right, there we go. Bring that back together like so. Screw that on. Then come to your hot water. Fill that up with the hot water. Flush it out. And again, you'll do that 3 times. Usually in 1 cup of water boiled in the microwave, will usually suffice to flush this barrel 3 times. Okay. I usually pull back the plunge on it, relock it. And the best place to store these is either in the cooler or in the freezer. Dry them off on the outside, store them in the freezer, or like I said, the cooler. The main reason is things are slow to grow in a very cooled environment, and when it's frozen, nothing can grow. So it's really awesome that way, and you can keep everything clean.
Well, there you have it. Thanks for coming out today to Ford Farms. This is Byron Ford. Byron, thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you, Dr. Kip, for the time that you spent with us. Again, you get in the Cairo, Nebraska area. These guys live around here. Just an unbelievable facility. And always the research you do, the work that you're doing, we just appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching DocTalk. Remember, if you want to see what we do, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. Always work with your local veterinarian, and we'll see you down the road.
At Merck Animal Health, we support you and your legacy by helping you meet the challenges of today with the innovations of tomorrow.